If you could please stand for the singing of our national anthem to be performed by SRJC vocal student and scholarship recipient Nathaniel Mack. Thank you.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say, does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Thank you, Nathaniel. That was wonderful. Well, welcome to the 2016 President's Address to the community. I'm Paul Yeomans, Chair of the Santa Rosa Junior Foundation Board of Directors. On behalf of the SRJC Foundation and Santa Rosa Junior College, it is my pleasure to greet alumni and friends of the college. Today, we honor a truly remarkable President's Medallion recipient, the fourth superintendent and president of the SRJC, Dr. Robert Agrella. It is our privilege to recognize the impact of Dr. Agrella on the success of the SRJC and its strong connection to the community. At this time, I would like to also recognize a number of special guests. Please hold your applause until I recognize everybody. It is my pleasure to introduce the previous President Medallion recipients who are in attendance today. Connie Conning, please stand as your names are announced. Connie Conning and her late husband, Hugh Conning. Gay LeBaron, the family of Jean Benedetti, Clem Carnelli, Al Magini, Bill Pedersen and his late wife, Pat Pedersen, Peggy Call, Terry Lindley, American Ag Credit, Connie Mahoney, Jane and Herb Dwight, Pepperwood Preserve, the Dutton family, Steve Olson, Lori Beard, and members of the Rotary District 5130. Thank you very much. Please join me in recognizing our guests from Exchange Bank who have generously sponsored the President's Table today. Gary Hartwick, Bill Schrader, Bill Ranking and his wife ML Ranking, Dan LeBarle and his wife Carol Ann LeBarle. Thank you again. And please recognize members of Exchange Bank Board of Directors in attendance today. Gary Hartwick, Bill Schrader, Dan Benedetti, Steve Dutton, and Dan LeBarle. Thank you all. Also, please give a round of applause to the trustees of the Exchange Bank and the Frank P. Doyle and Polly O'Mara Doyle Scholarship Fund, Bill Ranking and Dan Benedetti. Since 1950, the Doyle Trust has distributed over $80.3 million for over 125,000 student scholarship awards. Thank you, Exchange Bank. It's now my pleasure to recognize the members of the Santa Rosa Junior College Board of Trustees. Rick Call, Don Egger, Maggie Fishman, Jeff Cundy, Terry Lindley, and student trustee Sabrina Rousen. Former trustees Bob Bordeaux, Kathleen Doyle, Al Magini, and Don Zumwalt. And also Connie Mahoney, wife of Harold Mahoney, and Eva Michelson, wife of the Santa Rosa Junior College, third superintendent and president, Roy Michelson. Thank you. Last but not least, we'd like to recognize the elected officials here today. Former Congresswoman Lynn Woolsey, First District Supervisor Susan Gorn, Sonoma County Board of Supervisors, 3rd District, Shirley Zane, Santa Rosa City Manager Sean McGlynn. Thank you all. And today's luncheon has been coordinated by the Santa Rosa Junior College Foundation, staff, and the Board of Directors. So please join me in recognizing the board members, the committee chairs, and staff. If you could all stand. Jordan Burns is here, and so is Dorothy Battenfield, 2 new trustees. So thank you for coming. I would like to express appreciation to today's table sponsors who you have seen recognized on the program and on the screen behind me. Thank you for your generous support of today's President's Address. Here to provide you with the state of the college, please welcome Superintendent and President, Dr. Frank Chong.
Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you, Paul, for the generous introduction. Before I begin my formal remarks, I'd like to recognize this year's President's Medallion awardee, Dr. Robert Agrella, who's been both a friend and a mentor to me. Bob's given me outstanding support from the day I arrived at SRJC, and he's been nothing but helpful and gracious. Since starting here, I've really grown to increasingly appreciate the challenges and the pressure of leading an institution that's so vital to this community. And Bob's 22 years of distinguished service certainly left a high bar of excellence for his successor. And Bob's not only recognized regionally, he's recognized across the state and nationally. And most recently, had what they call Restaurant Impossible job of going to City College of San Francisco and did a marvelous job in trying to straighten out that mess. But I'd like to say that to you, Bob, for everything you did as president, thank you for leaving me such a highly functioning institution. Thank you for being giving me such a thorough onboarding when I arrived and introducing me to many of the people in this audience. And then thank you for giving me the space to develop my own style of leadership. And thank you for returning all my calls and emails whenever I needed your wise counsel. And most of all, thank you for being a role model that continues to care deeply about SRJC. You are a great leader and a wonderful confidant. Thank you. See, if you had Bob Agrella up here, he would never be late. I'll tell you a story. When I was first here, we were driving to different meetings, and we were going to, I think, North Bay Leadership Council to Petaluma to meet with Cynthia Murray, and he's riding in the front seat, the passenger seat, and he looks over and he says, "Frank, your gas tank's on empty." And I said, "I know, Bob, thank you." And we go a couple more miles, and he goes, "Frank, your gas tank's on empty." Bob Agrella's cars always are on full, and Dr. Chong's always running on fumes. We couldn't be any more different, but we have a common love for Santa Rosa Junior College and for community colleges. So thank you, Bob. The title of my talk today is Envisioning Our Future, Our Second 100 Years. And thank you, everyone, for being here. I'm reflecting on the last time we got together about a year ago, And I can joke and say very little has changed. I got married. Thank you, Alina, for saying yes. The Warriors are once again in the NBA Finals. Go Dubs. And SRJC is nearly having as good a season as Steph Curry, I would say. And one thing is certain, successful organizations like the Golden State Warriors and SRJC have always had steady leadership at the top. And here, this leadership begins with the Santa Rosa Junior College Board of Trustees, the 7 elected officials that oversee the business of the district. They hire the president and superintendent, and they meet monthly with no compensation other than a VIP parking pass. And the board is known for steady leadership throughout the state, and that's one of the reasons I applied for this job. And many people are asking, well, how's the current board doing? You have 3 new members. And my response is, they're doing just fine. And the longtime board members have worked very hard with me to welcome and embrace the new board members, and we are a cohesive team. So I rest assured that the steady leadership and all the contributions that past board members have made, our current board is on a good path. I want to thank the board. As we move ahead, other people are asking, well, how's the bond going? We dished out $410 million, the largest bond in the history of Sonoma County. How are you spending that dough, Dr. Chong? And I could say that this community really prides itself in the deep history that resides between the walls of this institution. And these walls are getting a little tired and worn. However, our faculty members have continued through their ingenuity to really try to make the best of what they have to work with, whether it's in tired labs. We don't always have the best facilities, but I guarantee you, once we get this bond project going and it's going well, we are going to have the best community college in the nation. And after nearly 100 years, we're much in need of what I call an extreme makeover. And that's exactly what we intend to do with Measure H dollars. We started what I call a 2030 plan, and that's a strategic master plan that is going to outline what our priorities are for renovation, modernization, and new buildings. And there's a lot of enthusiasm. We have over 200 faculty, staff, and administrators that are engaged in 8 different committees to make sure that everybody's on board. And I really want to appreciate Gensler and Quochi and Kwok for really helping us out. We have hired a great international firm to work with a great local firm, and through the leadership of Lee Sauter, our director of Measure H projects, we are doing fine. And I've been really impressed with the fact that we've selected Burbank Auditorium to be the first project out of the gate. This 77-year-old grande dame, I call her, definitely needs some sprucing up. And when it's done, it won't be quite as fancy as the Green Center. I joke with Ruben Armiana at Sonoma State. We'll call it the Lime Center, you know. We don't have the dough to do something like that, but I assure you, we're going to preserve the beauty of the outside, and when you get into the inside, it's going to be a modern theater that's going to last for the next generation, so that our performing arts students can wow you as they do with our summer repertory theater and our regular season during the year. So the upgrades will be in time, hopefully, for the celebration of our 2018 centennial, which you'll hear about a little later. And even with the excitement of the upgrading of facilities and technology that the bond will pay for, I'm reminded that it's really the faculty and staff that are the backbone of any educational institution. This is particularly true at SRJC, where the faculty have developed what I call a mythical reputation. So rarely does a day go by that I'm not stopped at G&G Market or somewhere local, and a person will come up to me and say, Dr. Chong, I just want to let you know that the hardest and most challenging class I ever took was at Santa Rosa Junior College. And that really sends shivers down my spine and makes me so proud, as our faculty are really renowned in their fields. And that 2 years of foundation sets the tone for a successful career. So many of you in the audience are those students who stopped me. Many of you are here because of that. I just recently met the principal of St. Vincent's in Petaluma, a graduate of Santa Rosa Junior College, and I don't think she turned out too bad. So welcome. So I spent a great deal of time also replacing wonderful faculty who are retiring, In the 4 years that I've been in this position, I've hired over half of the full-time faculty. And some people are asking in the community, is there still the commitment and the talent out there? And I can answer you a resounding yes. The new crop of faculty and administrators and staff that we're hiring are talented, they're innovative, they're excited individuals who understand what it means to be part of SRJC. They've done their homework, they've researched us on the web, they've read our strategic plan, and they're really, really excited about strolling our beautiful campus and becoming part of our maintaining our tradition of excellence. Another question I get asked in the community a lot is, Dr. Chong, how do we know we're number one? I was asked that today by Jeff Johnson, one of my golf buddies. He's an attorney, so he knows very little about higher education. So let me school you, Jeff. SRJC is number one in UC transfer acceptance amongst large community colleges in California. 75% of JC students who apply to a UC campus are accepted. The statewide average is 45%. We're number one in transfers to Sonoma State University. We transfer over 600 students to Sonoma State annually. We're number two in the nation in granting short-term certificates, which will these will be the people who will fix your cars, who will work on your gardens. These are certificates that will lead to well-paying jobs like culinary. Additionally, SRJC was named a great college to work for the 4th consecutive year by the Chronicle of Higher Education, the only one of 2 community colleges to enjoy that recognition. We were recognized as the 2015 Green Community College Leadership Award, recognizing the SRJC Sustainable Agriculture Program and Schoen Farm. In 2016, led by Coach Hal Sanford, the Santa Rosa Junior College students captured both state and national championships in parliamentary debate. Let's give them a big round of applause. This year, the SRJC Polar Bear men's hockey team won the state championship. How many community colleges have a hockey team? And I just recently returned from Fresno, California. I surprised my wife, Lena, by saying, you know what we're going to do for Memorial Day? We're going to Fresno. And that shows you how much she loves me. Where the baseball team captured the 2016 state championship. So what do these statistics translate into? On Saturday, we held our 97th commencement ceremony on the lawn. It was beautiful. And I'm proud and pleased to say that we awarded over 2,200 degrees to over 1,600 students. That's the largest in the history of Santa Rosa Junior College, a 10% increase from the previous year. These men and women will be transferring to UC Berkeley, Sonoma State, UC Davis, Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, Cornell, and many of the other universities that you might have seen in our ad that we recently put in. We also held a wonderful celebration to celebrate our career technical education, our certificate degree holders, and had more than 500 students. And these are going to be your future IT workers, automotive, and healthcare amongst them. And many of them are going to have good paying jobs and contribute to their community, and thanks to their education here. Thanks for hiring them, and I'll be calling you about a finder's fee. I believe that much of our students' achievements are due to the increased investment in student success and student equity. In the past 3 years, we've received over $3 million to support persistence and completion. We have increased the number of students receiving comprehensive educational plans by tenfold. We've been providing generous student support and services by extending library hours, extending our book loan program, because you know how much textbooks are, providing more scholarships and financial support through our foundation, and the Doyle Scholarship has increased by more than 3 times in the last 3 years, so thank you, Exchange Bank. Let's give them a round of applause. We're also establishing learning communities for underrepresented groups, the African American, Latino, Asian Pacific Islander, and most recently, a Native American retention program. We're providing food vouchers and food for food insecure students. And also, all told, we have touched over 7,000 students with these funds. We have a record number of student clubs and an all-time high in student engagement. We have the most diverse student government in over 15 years, according to the work of Jordan Carbajal, our current ASG president. So for the students, please stand up and be recognized. Our student leaders are here today. Thank you. We're also working on the issue of housing and homelessness in collaboration with the County Board of Supervisors, Shirley Zane and Sean McGlynn on the local level in the city. Housing, as you know, is something that's always on the front page of the PD. It also hits our students very hard. So we are going to work with the city and see what we can do to develop affordable housing for our students. And speaking of strong leadership at the top, all of these interventions would not be possible were it not for the leadership of someone who has led student services for the past 30 years, Ricardo Navarrete. Ricardo is retiring after 30 years of service to SRJC. I will personally miss him, and I'd like to acknowledge his contributions. Ricardo, would you please stand and be recognized? And now that you've heard the numbers, let's put some faces to the stories to these students. Andrea Bordignon. Andrea traveled from SRJC from his home in Bassano de Grappa, Italy, in spring of 2014. He was drawn to a new life in the United States, and Andrea says, "I truly love this country, and I deeply believe in what this country represents." I introduced him to one of our foundation members, Don Shigazola. There seems to be a lot of paisans in Sonoma County. Don Shigazola is a member of our foundation, and Don took him under his wing, took him out to lunch, mentored him, and Andrea had financial challenges, having to support out-of-state tuition and living expenses. So Don introduced him to people at Riviera Restaurant, and Andrea was able to work his way through college. Andrea was accepted to a special program in the U.S. Army that offered him a path to citizenship, but required him to learn yet another language, English, Italian, and Portuguese. So he studied diligently, and he recently just passed the Army's Portuguese language exam. He will enter boot camp on September 19th. Upon graduation day from boot camp, the U.S. Army will grant him U.S. citizenship. What a great story. Besides falling in love with his new country, Andrea also fell in love with another international student from Vietnam. They plan to marry when they finish their education. Congratulations, Andrea. Stand up and please be recognized. Claudia Ochoa. Claudia was only 15 years old when she came to this country, crossing the U.S. border on foot. Her journey was not easy, and surviving in America as a dreamer was no easier. She finished high school only to find that she had to put her education on hold and worked 3 jobs until the economic downturn. She was laid off. She decided it was time to go back to school and went back to the JC and entered our nursing program. 5 years it took her, but she made it, and she's a graduate. She's currently studying for board exams and has already been offered a position in the neurology department at a local hospital. Congratulations, Claudia. Please stand up and be recognized. Next student is E. Pham. E worked in my office, so I have a special place in my heart for her. Erin McGee was her mentor. She was shy, international student, having recently come from Vietnam. She had big shoes to fill. Her brother had a full ride to Cornell, came to the JC, and she followed in his footsteps. She was nervous, wouldn't speak to people on the phone, but we trained her up, and she applied to Cornell, and she intended to study design and art. But she was accepted, and was given $0 in scholarship funds, so she could not afford to go to Cornell. Undeterred, Eve decided to take the course that her brother took. She started taking all the science classes she could, and no surprise, an art student aced all of her science classes. She buckled down all year, working 3 jobs, and she came in the other day and said, "Dr. Chong, I've been accepted to Cornell with a full scholarship." E couldn't be with us today. I gave her a pass because she's starting her summer program at the world-famous Mayo Clinic doing research in Rochester, Minnesota. Let's give her a hand. And last but not least, Alec Renard. A graduate of Maria Carrillo High School, Alec's currently the starting pitcher for our baseball team. Alex is the third of 4 boys in the family who have all attended the JC. This year he was named Big 8 Pitcher of the Year, and during conference play had a .65 ERA and a record of 6-0. His overall record is 14-1, and he finished the season as getting the first win in the game that I watched, and he came in 3 days later and got the last 3 outs to steal the championship. His coach, Damon, said, in my 12 years in coaching as a head coach, I don't think I've ever had a player with this type of talent and grit and a person with that type of maturity. He never said no. In addition to Alec's many accomplishments in the field, he's also an accomplished scholar, receiving 3 degrees, biology, chemistry, and natural sciences. He's received scholarship interest from UC Davis, UC Irvine, UC San Diego, and I just talked to him earlier. He'll be flying to University of Michigan for a look, and Penn State, to name a few. He plans to pursue a career in pre-med, but I think the Giants might have some plans for you before your medical career. Congratulations, Alec. Please stand up and let's give you a round of applause. State champion. I'd like to thank all of you. This is, like my wife said, like a shareholders meeting. You all have invested in the JC, and you're all interested in making sure that it continues to prosper. And our SRJC is not only about helping our students, it's also about what we bring to the community. We recently convened an economic impact report done in Moscow, Idaho, of all places, and we found that SRJC has a significant impact on our local economy. We're the 2nd largest employer in Sonoma County, behind the county employees, with a payroll of annually $161 million that goes back into our community. We recently found out that for every dollar that an individual student invests in SRJC, they receive a cumulative return of $2.50 in future wages. In addition, for every tax dollar invested in SRJC, we receive $5.80 in benefits. I don't think Scott Thayer or Michael Coutre could meet those returns. So that makes SRJC a very unusual public institution, one that generates more revenue than it takes in. But while all that sounds very good and impressive, let's remind ourselves, our work is not done. We are #1 now, not because we do simply what we must, but because we strive to continually improve. Aristotle put it best when he said, "We are what we repeatedly do." Excellence, then, is a habit, not an act. So I ask you to join me in a renewed commitment for the next 100 years to excellence in all we do. Let's not be satisfied that we are simply doing a great job for our students in the community. Let us strive to be even better than we were the day before, to be the exceptional institution that I know that we are in my heart. It is with this commitment that I look forward to a second 100 years of SRJC with great excitement and anticipation. As I like to say, the future is so bright I need to wear sunglasses. I look forward to another century of educational excellence at SRJC. Thank you very much, and go Bear Cubs! And now it is my honor to introduce past President's Medallion recipient Steve Olson to introduce this year's honoree.
Well, good afternoon. It's an honor for me to introduce this year's recipient of the President's Medallion, Dr. Robert Agrella. I had the pleasure of serving on Dr. Agrella's administrative team for 17 of the 22 years he served as president of SRJC. I was actually hired by Rand Newman, then served under Dr. Roy Michelson for 20 years. And currently I assist Dr. Chong from time to time with some agriculturally related tasks. I think it would be safe to say that I have a pretty good understanding of what it takes to be an outstanding community college president, and I consider Dr. Agrella to be one of the very, very best. When Dr. Agrella was hired in 1990, it must have been tempting for the Board of Trustees to hire a status quo president, because the college had been through 2 decades of substantial growth and development and was in pretty darn good shape. It didn't take long for the college, the faculty, and the community to learn that Dr. Agrella wasn't satisfied with the status quo. He was full of energy and new ideas from his experience as a teacher, as a dean, as a provost, and as a president at 2 other California community colleges. As the president of Mendocino and Cabrillo College, he had the opportunity to size up SRJC and therefore hit the ground running when hired as our 4th president. Dr. Agrella was a visionary leader, but his vision was developed through a deliberate process which included community and institutional assessments, as well as inclusive planning with the faculty, the staff, and the students. Early in his tenure, he established the Institutional Planning Council and completed a community needs assessment. Both served as a launching pad for the many exciting changes that occurred during his leadership. It'd be very interesting if everyone would take a look back at 1990 and visualize SRJC at that time, alongside what it looks like today. You could walk out across campus and see the Doyle Library, which replaced some very dingy old portable buildings. You could cross Mendocino and see the Bordeaux Culinary Center, where some old residences once occurred. You could go to the Zumwalt Parking Pavilion, which replaced an old surface parking lot. Or you could go to the Bertolini Student Center, which replaced the old coop, which a few of us in this room might have played cards in back in our student days at SRJC. If you go to the Petaluma campus, you see a new library, the Harold Mahoney Library. You see Doyle Hall, you see the Ellis Auditorium, you see the Call Building, all new or remodeled structures which tripled the capacity of the Petaluma campus to about 12,000 students. If you venture up to Schoen Farm, you'll see the Dutton Pavilion, a pavilion that now raises out of an old cattle pasture. It includes the Cundy Arena, the Gallo Wine Lab, the Vintners Conference Center, the Merlot Culinary Center, and the Joe Vercelli Kitchen. You'd also see the Hart Equine Center, which replaced some old outdated corrals. If you ventured up to Windsor, you would see the Public Safety Training Center, which grew out of an old grassy field to become a state-of-the-art police, fire, ranger, and paramedic training center. Most of the changes I've mentioned were made possible by the passage of Measure A by the voters of this district. The person that worked the hardest to inform the voters and to get the bond passed was Dr. Agrella. It is important to point out that Dr. Agrella's brick and mortar achievements were matched and possibly surpassed by improvements he fostered in other areas of the college. Let me just mention a few. The internet was fairly new when he arrived in 1990. Dr. Agrella recognized the need to expand our efforts in technology, both as a way to communicate, to do research, and to offer instruction. Dr. Agrella was an early adopter of this new technology and worked hard to generate the support for its integration into our classrooms and the administrative units of the college. Dr. Agrella recognized the need to expand educational access beyond Santa Rosa and Petaluma and supported the development of off-campus programs throughout this district. I was privileged to be part of this effort, which spanned over 50 different educational sites throughout the district and 7 foreign countries. Dr. Agrella worked with the college trustees, foundation trustees, and staff to expand the scope of the foundation and provide greater donor opportunities to support the college and its students. The Bear Cub Trust, the Friends of the Petaluma Campus, the Ag Trust serve but 3 examples of his efforts to diversify the opportunities donors have to support our students and our programs. As was mentioned earlier, the college is a large economic unit here in Sonoma County, and therefore, not just because of its budget and number of employees, but because that Dr. Agrella saw the need to embrace economic development as part of the mission of the college. And he increased dramatically our workforce training efforts. And just a few things he's done both publicly and privately was to support the Small Business Development Center, the Sawyer Inventive Center, the Workforce Investment Board. He brought contract education to many public and private employers in Sonoma County. He was a leader on the North Bay Leadership Council and the Sonoma County Manufacturers Group. With all Dr. Agrella has accomplished during his presidency, I think it is safe to say that his highest priority and greatest interest was always in serving students. This was clearly demonstrated when he took time out of his busy schedule to teach a yearly math class. By walking in the shoes of a math instructor, he not only experienced firsthand the challenges faced by his students, but also refreshed his knowledge of what it takes for a faculty member to prepare and teach in today's environment. Dr. Agrella's interest and support for students was manifested in many additional ways. He helped increase the services to disabled students. He expanded student health services. He supported growth in the scholarship program, including the Bridging the Doyle Scholarship Program when it was desperately needed. He helped create a partnership with Herb and Jane Dwight in the establishment of the Pepperwood Preserve, a wonderful educational resource for the students here at SRJC as well as the community. And he expanded many new programs dealing with career development. As my introduction comes to a close, I think it's important to point out Dr. Agrella's contribution. Contributions go far beyond SRJC. He's a leader in his profession as well as the community at large. He was a sought-after team leader for many accreditation teams charged with the accreditation process for other community colleges. He also served in leadership positions with the Santa Rosa Chamber of Commerce, United Way Exchange Bank, the Press Democrat Celebrate Community Program, just to name a few. Dr. Agrella also supported many initiatives aimed at bringing the community to our college. Day Under the Oaks, the new Robert Agrella Art Gallery, sporting events like the Clo Bowl, the career fairs, and of course the President's Address to the community, which he initiated. So, without further delay, I would like to invite Dr. Robert Agrella and Dr. Frank Chong to the podium for the presentation of the President's Medallion.
Great job. On behalf of Santa Rosa Junior College, it is my distinct honor and privilege to thank you, Bob, for your years of service and the profound impact on the college, and to present you with the President's Medallion. Try not to bang it over your head. There you go. Congratulations, Bob. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Steve, for the very kind introduction, and of course, thank you, Dr. Chong. I'd also like to thank the college's Board of Trustees and the Foundation Board of Directors for this honor. Before proceeding with my very brief comments, and I promise you they will be very brief this year, I would like to introduce members of my family who are here today, just to recognize them. First of all, my wife, confidant, and my very best friend, Kim. One of my sons is here today, and that's Ryan. My father-in-law and person you many of you here know, Cal Carpenter. My brother-in-law and sister-in-law, Dave and Kimberly Carpenter, are here today. Thank you for being here. And my sister-in-law's father, Don Cassidy. Thank you all for being here today. Appreciate it very much. People who know me well know that I am much better at giving awards than recognition and receiving them. And today's occasion is really no different. I believe, and my entire professional career has certainly proved positive, that the recognition of persons such as myself at events like this are the result more of colleagues and support mechanisms that surround him or her than many of the actual deeds of the individual being recognized. One such important support mechanism for me, and Dr. Chong mentioned it, for anyone who successfully occupies the position of college president, is the role of the Board of Trustees in guiding the college and its president. SRJC trustees have always been blessed with SRJC has always been blessed with a great board of trustees. Trustees who do the right thing for the college and its students, even if it means at times taking an unpopular position. The board members I served with always put the college and students' well-being first in their deliberations, and I'm sure the current board carries on this proud tradition. I am forever grateful to the board members who hired me in 1990, one of whom is here today, and that's Al Magini, and to the board members who I served under for their support, wise counsel, friendship throughout the years. I was also blessed with having an outstanding administrative staff and management team, Steve mentioned being one of those members. These are the individuals who developed many of the ideas I am credited with, and with carrying out the difficult job of being the main interface with the many internal and external constituencies of the college as those ideas actually began into implementation. Great colleges must have a great faculty, and SRJC has always been blessed with an outstanding faculty. Working with students is at the heart of the teaching and learning process. A college's long-term reputation rests on the success of students as they move on to a four-year degree, exit with new or renewed job skills, and serving the community at large by being productive citizens in their everyday lives. SRJC has always also had an outstanding classified staff. These are the men and women I call the unsung heroes of the college. These are the staff who clean our classrooms and offices, maintain our buildings and grounds, set up and take down equipment such as you see here today, pay our bills, see to our technology needs, and attend to the myriad of other activities that keep the wheels of the college running smoothly. As I mentioned previously, let us never forget how important students are to the present and long-term health and reputation of the college. At both the state and national level, SRJC student achievement and student leadership are well known and have long contributed to the college's outstanding reputation. Finally, SRJC is the college it is today because of people like you, members of the community it serves. The college has received and continues to receive amazing community support, as witnessed by the successful passage of 2 bond campaigns, the incredible Exchange Bank Scholarship, Doyle Scholarship Program, support of the college's foundations by both individuals and organizations, and the support of numerous other business and professional organizations throughout Sonoma County. To community at large, I, and I'm sure Dr. Chong joins me in saying, thank you for your past, present, and future support. Again, thank you for this recognition, and thank you to the numerous individuals and organizations who made my 22 years as president here rewarding and fulfilling. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Bob. Thank you. And now we have something special to share. I'd like Trustee Terry Lindley, SRJC Foundation Board Chair Paul Yeomans, and artist Virgil Elliott to please join us on the stage.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Terry Lindley, and I've had an opportunity to be a Board of Trustee member here at Santa Rosa Junior College for nearly 20 years. More importantly, though, I had an opportunity to work directly with Dr. Agrella for 16 years. I was a young man in my 30s when I first joined the board, and he was a tremendous mentor for me and somebody that I'll always respect and consider as a true friend for many, many years to come. It's a Board of Trustees tradition that we commission a portrait of past presidents. In recognition of their service, we hang this portrait in the Frank P. Doyle Library on the second floor. I want to thank the Santa Rosa JC Foundation Board, current trustee members, and former Board of Trustee members for their contribution to this portrait for Dr. Agrella. We are pleased to unveil the portrait of Dr. Agrella to all of you today. But before we do, I would like to thank the painter and fine artist, Virgil Elliott. Virgil, thank you very much for his wonderful likeness, and also to a library technician, Scott Lipanovich, for helping bring the portrait to fruition. Are we ready to unveil Dr. Agrella's portrait? Here we go. Ready? You want to help me?
Pretty good, huh?
Thank you.
I told Bob the good thing was that the portrait looks like him, and the bad thing is it looks like him. But did an outstanding job, Virgil. Thank you. It's now my pleasure to introduce two longtime friends and supporters who have come together to lead the SRJC 100th anniversary campaign. Pam Chanter is recognized as one of the community's most respected leaders and champion of many causes, including education. The Vice President for Van Trio Insurance, Pam is past chair of the SRJC Foundation Board of Directors, on which she served for 9 years. In 2014, I asked Pam to take on another leadership role and chair the important work of the Citizens Bond Oversight Committee, which oversees the spending of the $410 million. I'd now like to introduce another young man, Al Magini, who's never shied away from hard work in making his community a better place to live. He has given his entire life to helping others learn, grow, and prosper. A retired investment broker for Merrill Lynch, Al holds the distinction of the longest-serving board member for the Board of Trustees with 33 years of dedicated service. Al also was an instructor at the JC for 12 years. Please join me in a warm welcome to Pam and Al.
Thank you, Dr. Chong. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My friend Al and I are here today because we love the SRJC. Like all of you, we love the college and recognize all it does for our students and the community. In 2018, this amazing college will celebrate its 100th anniversary. The impact SRJC has had on the lives of everyone in our community is immeasurable. 100 years of educating our families, our friends, and our neighbors, and preparing students for the rewards of higher education, providing skilled employees for our ever-changing workforce, and inspiring lifelong learners to pursue career and personal growth. The video that we are about to show you captures the essence of SRJC. With its simple, inspiring message, the stories are timeless and represent generations of students who have passed through the JC on their way to a better quality of life for themselves and their families.
It has been over 100 years since it all began. An idea brought to life by a group of determined women. With the support of a strong community, Santa Rosa Junior College was formed in 1918. It began without a permanent location and with only 19 students, but the founders must have known that they were creating something much bigger. Santa Rosa Junior College has since been home to more than 1 million students, and I am proud to be part of this remarkable story. As a long-standing member of the Board of Trustees and as an instructor, I've had the great privilege of working to serve the very best of our region. I have lived for more than 100 years. I have seen the world around me change in ways I never thought possible. Yet in my 100 years, I have seen one thing remain constant: SRJC and the power of education. There is something special about the JC graduation. Watching these students with their families and friends is inspiring. I don't know their names or stories, but they are full of hope and purpose. They are the single parent and the future nurse who will care for our families like her own. They are the first-generation college student and future botanist who will develop sustainable ways for us to feed the world. They are the foster youth and future lawyer who will serve as an advocate for others. They are the military veteran and future business leader who will introduce the world to new technology. They are future journalists who will touch hearts and future teachers who will change minds. They are the future first responders who will save lives. Graduation is a celebration of great accomplishments, but it's only the beginning. These graduates will take what they have learned at SRJC out into our community and the world around us to change it and to make it better. Graduation is a constant reminder that Santa Rosa Junior College impacts the lives of many, and that education is where it all begins. I can only imagine the possibilities and the progress that will be made as SRJC moves through its next century. From one centenarian to another, I offer my appreciation and congratulations. Here's to the next 100 years.
You all know that the JC is a very special college, like very few in California and the United States. You also understand the power of education, how it transforms lives. I am so proud to have been a part of the JC remarkable history and to help guide its progress in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. It's wonderful to look back and see what great things we've done. It's also time to look forward and see what's ahead and how we can help shape the future of our college. Our 100th anniversary campaign is ambitious, $15 billion over the next 2 years. But we have always had the support of our community, who, from many different perspectives, understand that our success is their success. I know that everyone in this room today is here because we all understand the importance of the JC and its importance of education. I know we can reach this goal with your help. Thank you.
Great job. The Funds raised during the 100th anniversary campaign will go toward 4 main areas of focus. Our fundraising efforts will support first and foremost our students. We will provide funding for scholarships, internships, and other essential student needs to enable all our students to access an education and stay in college. We will also provide funding for faculty development so our top-notch instructors remain the best of the best nationally. Additionally, we will pursue and purchase instructional equipment, teaching tools, and technology to ensure our classrooms and learning sites give our students access to what they need for academic and career success. And finally, we will build our endowment to ensure an everlasting stream of funding support for the college. I'm thrilled to share with you today that our campaign is off to a great start. It is my privilege to announce that Exchange Bank has made the lead gift of $100,000. Our appreciation goes to CEO Gary Hartwick and the Exchange Bank Board of Directors for this extraordinary challenge gift. And I'm so proud to share with you that our challenge has already been met by several remarkable supporters of the college. American Ag Credit, represented here today by Vice President Terry Lindley, Sarah and Darius Anderson, who regrettably were not able to attend, Clover Stornetta Farms, led by CEO Marcus Benedetti, and the Cotting Foundation's founder and our friend Connie Cotting, who are all here with us today. They have stepped up and each contributed $100,000 to SRJC. I'd like to ask that all of you who donated, and I just announced today, please stand, and you deserve a bow for your visionary leadership. Please stand and be honored.
Thank you, my friends. To keep the momentum going from now until the end of 2018, we will be reaching out to our faithful donors, alumni, business partners, to invite you to be part of this milestone in our history and to ask for a gift to ensure that our students and our college meets the challenges of the next century. Pam and I have personally contributed and will be asking you in the future to do the same. So when a JC Foundation fundraiser gives you a call, take the call and say, yes, I want to be part of the future of this great college. Thanks.
You know, all boats rise with our success. So as you leave today, please stop by the campaign table, which is right outside the door, and give them your card to set up an appointment to learn more about the many ways that you can join us and Exchange Bank, American Ag Credit, Sarah and Darius Anderson, Clover Stornetta, and Connie Cotting, who are leading in the way for our beloved SRJC. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Al. Thank you, Pam. On behalf of the SRJC Foundation, I'd like to congratulate Dr. Agrella and offer thanks to Dr. Chong and all of you here today. The guest at each table with the birthday closest to Dr. Agrella's, which is August 28th, will be honored to take the centerpiece home with you. So good luck to you all. We look forward to seeing you again next year. Meanwhile, please join us throughout the year at many incredible programs, events, and activities hosted by the college, especially as we prepare to celebrate the 100-year anniversary of the Santa Rosa Junior College. Thank you, and have a wonderful afternoon.